Do you feel like you're spinning in an endless cycle and yearning for a change? I bring good news. God is ready to renew your existence. He is by your side, shaping circumstances in your favor. Today I will reveal 10 signs that God is working quietly to elevate your life to new heights. When you notice these signs, recognize them as indications that a new phase is being drawn on your path. He hasn't forgotten you. If you haven't yet, take this opportunity to subscribe to the channel. You might be going through tough times that make you doubt God's presence. But remember, no adversity is eternal. God finishes what he starts. If he has kept you firm until now, he will surely complete everything concerning you, leading you to a more fulfilled life. As a Christian, be aware that the path won't always be smooth. Even Jesus Christ faced tribulations. However, be assured that the transformations you undergo are divine tools to improve your life. Changes happen progressively. As Ecclesiastes 3:1 says, "To everything there is a season and a time for every purpose under heaven." Transformations aren't instantaneous. They can take days, months, or years to materialize. God acts with order, carefully preparing you before highlighting you. Unfortunately, some people fail to perceive God's action in transitions. To ensure you don't miss these moments, here are 10 signs that attest that God is reshaping your life for the better. 1. You might encounter obstacles and barriers. Challenges and obstacles may arise in your path, but remember the promises of the Bible. We will never lack what is necessary. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. Psalm 23:1. God, the possessor of all things, provides abundantly for those who seek to fulfill his purpose. But what if, even following his commandments, we encounter difficulties? Know that sometimes, even when aligned with God, we may feel that his provision becomes scarce. This is not a sign of abandonment, but an indication that you have become complacent, and God desires you to grow, as with the Israelites in the desert. He may temporarily withdraw comfort to push us forward. Do not see this as punishment, but as God's liberation from circumstances that limit your growth, preparing you for a new season of blessings. Face challenges with faith and follow divine direction. He will guide you to the promised land. In the face of adversity, do not despair. Hand over your worries to Jesus and find peace and rest. It's not suffering, but the causes of suffering that are illusory. 2. You feel uneasy and unsettled in your comfort zone. A feeling of restlessness and discomfort begins to arise even when you are apparently secure in your usual routine. Do you feel this internal agitation, a discomfort in the soul, despite everything externally seeming in order? This is often an indication that you are on the threshold of a phase of change. There is an absence of tranquility, although everything around you appears to be in perfect harmony. If this happens, stay calm. There is nothing wrong with you. It is simply a sign that God is calling you to a higher purpose. This incessant desire is God's way of sowing deep dissatisfaction within you. Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind, so that you may prove what is the good, pleasing, and perfect will of God. Romans 12:2. God places this burden on your heart as an invitation to explore new and grand horizons in his presence. Imagine, for example, that you have the dream job that everyone desires. Your life seems to flow without setbacks, yet there is still a sense of incompleteness. This is a divine stimulus to seek even more extraordinary opportunities. In such moments, seek God fervently and ask for guidance and clarity in your path. God doesn't want something from us. He simply wants us. C.S. Lewis. 3. God will arrange divine encounters along your path. At each stage of life, God positions specific people to assist you. They are collaborators of destiny, aligned with God's purpose for your existence. God establishes these connections in mysterious and unexpected ways. And we know that all things work together for good to those who love God, to those who are called according to his purpose. Romans 8:28. They may be people already present in your life, such as mentors, friends, or relatives, or even strangers who appear to support you at crucial moments. They are the encouragers who push you to move forward to new chapters in your story. The Apostle Paul experienced such divine connection. After his conversion, God sent him Barnabas, who not only introduced him to the other apostles, but also supported him in spreading the gospel. You are never too old to set a new goal or to dream a new dream. Lewis. Even if your destiny collaborator hesitates initially, God has the power to soften hearts and transform reluctance into support, as assured in Proverbs 21. 1. The king's heart is in the hand of the Lord. He directs it wherever he pleases. 4. God will refresh your vision and ignite a new passion within you. Transformation of perspective is essential for spiritual and personal growth. Often, it is necessary to change our worldview before we can ascend to new levels of achievement. Popular wisdom tells us that repeating the same acts while expecting different results is an exercise in futility. Indeed, to experience a fuller and richer life, changes are necessary in various areas, including relationships, friendships, and even character. Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind, so that you may prove what is the good, pleasing, and perfect will of God. Romans 12:2. Just as Abraham needed to separate from Lot for God's promise to be fulfilled in his life, we often need to let go of what prevents us from prospering. However, detachment requires action. It is not enough to just pray for change, but also to be willing to let go. Allow God to prune the fruitless branches of your life, discarding harmful behaviors and detrimental relationships. This is done so that you can discover a deeper and more meaningful purpose. When this change occurs, embrace the new passion that God will awaken in you, and watch as he illuminates your unique talents and gifts. Create in me a pure heart, O God, and renew a steadfast spirit within me. Psalm 51:10. 5. You will discover new opportunities revealed in your life. As your life transforms for the better, God positions you in the right place, at the right time, to embrace specific opportunities. These opportunities are not always exactly what you desire, but it is essential to trust that God aligns them with his purposes for your journey. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future. Jeremiah 29:11. Accepting new opportunities can be challenging, especially when we are accustomed to what we already know. However, remember that God does not lead you from a trivial level to another equal one. He elevates you to higher and more significant levels. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct your paths. Proverbs 3:5-6. Some people, when faced with these opportunities, choose to use them for personal benefit without glorifying God. However, there are inspiring examples, like Esther, who, upon becoming queen, chose to use her position to help her people. When you are determined to serve God, opportunities continue to arise, and He empowers you to play a greater role in His work. God whispers to us in our pleasures, speaks in our conscience, but shouts in our pains. It is His megaphone to rouse a deaf world. C.S. Lewis. Trust the journey, for God is writing a story of glory through you. 6. You will find peace in the midst of uncertainties. Even when murmuring and complaints echo around you, your serenity remains intact. It is not that the problems have disappeared, but rather that God's presence in your life is the source of your stability. And the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus. Philippians 4:7. The peace that comes from Him transcends any human logic, and when it fills your heart, it establishes a state of calm. There may be moments when you do not fully understand the changes occurring. However, it is important to recognize that these are indications of a divine transition. I believe in Christianity as I believe that the sun has risen, not only because I see it, but because by it I see everything else. Lewis. God is signaling that He is guiding you to a future more promising than the present you know. Perhaps the new direction He proposes is not immediately attractive to you, but a quiet certainty surrounds it. This peace is the means by which God can transform your life, leading it down unexpected and blessed paths. The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? The Lord is the strength of my life. Of whom shall I be afraid? Psalm 27:1. 7. Your faith in God will grow stronger. Trusting God is fundamental to establishing a deep connection with Him. There are moments when placing our faith in God can seem like an immense challenge, while in others it seems to happen naturally. Interestingly, it is the obstacles and adversities that often drive us to strengthen our faith. It may sound paradoxical, but it is a reality. Take the story of Joseph, for example. Destined to be a leader, he faced hostility from his own brothers from a young age, and we know that all things work together for good to those who love God, to those who are called according to His purpose. Romans 8:28. Despite this, he did not abandon his dreams. Sold as a slave by his brothers, Joseph could have questioned his destiny. However, he persisted. The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? The Lord is the strength of my life. Of whom shall I be afraid? Psalm 27:1. With each setback, his faith in God intensified, and he remained firm until fulfilling God's purpose for his life. The challenges he faced not only strengthened his trust in God, but also expanded his wisdom. God whispers to us in our pleasures, speaks in our conscience, but shouts in our pains. It is his megaphone to rouse a deaf world. C.S. Lewis. Joseph acquired heavenly wisdom that enabled him to lead with justice. No matter how arduous your struggle, keep your faith unshakable. God is leading you to a future that transcends your current circumstances, strengthening your faith so that you can shine for His glory. 8. Your journey of transformation will lead to a divinely orchestrated restoration. Restoration often follows loss as a prelude to renewal, as Joel 2:25-26 reveals to us. I will restore to you the years that the locusts have eaten, my great army which I sent among you. You will have plenty to eat until you are full, and you will praise the name of the Lord your God, who has worked wonders for you. Never again will my people be shamed. This biblical passage assures us that what was lost will be recovered. Echoing the story of Job, the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside still waters. Psalm 23, 1-2. By surrendering to God's direction, you will feel the breath of his favor in all spheres of your existence. He will restore what was damaged and overflow your life with blessings, peace, joy, and fullness. I believe in Christianity as I believe that the sun has risen, not only because I see it, but because by it I see everything else. C.S. Lewis. When you feel this transformation, recognize it as a sign of God's transition, leading you to a season of abundance. Now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Hebrews 11:1. Embrace this change with gratitude, for God's promises are infallible and eternal. 9. As God changes your life, you will notice divine signs, like guiding lights on your journey. God is not an author of confusion. He illuminates each step you take, for God is not a God of disorder, but of peace. 1 Corinthians 14:33. These confirmations can manifest in various ways: divine interventions, prophetic messages, or even a sermon that seems specifically directed at you. Do you remember Gideon, the biblical hero? When God called him to lead the Israelites against the Midianites, Gideon hesitated. He asked for a sign. He placed a fleece on the threshing floor. If the dew was only on the fleece and the ground dry, he would know that God was calling him. God met the request, but Gideon still sought confirmation. He asked for another sign, the fleece dry and the ground covered with dew. God again responded, "The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? The Lord is the strength of my life. Of whom shall I be afraid?" Psalm 27:1. These signs were divine confirmations that God was with Gideon in his mission. Likewise, pay attention to the visions, dreams, and impulses of the Holy Spirit in your life. God cannot give us a happiness and peace apart from himself, because it is not there. There is no such thing. C.S. Lewis. They are God's seals of approval, indicating that he is guiding you to a greater purpose. 10. You will be motivated to follow God's ways with increased passion. Divine love is incomparable and reveals itself in extraordinary ways. Curiously, the closer you get to God, the more intensely you feel love for him. We love because he first loved us. 1 John 4:19. This indicates that without a true knowledge of God, loving him can seem like a challenge. Obedience is an authentic expression of this love. Teach me to do your will, for you are my God. May your good spirit lead me on level ground. Psalm 143:10. As you feel compelled to act according to what pleases God, even in the face of difficulties, it is a clear sign that he is molding not only your heart, but your entire being. God is reshaping you to reflect the person he planned you to be, with a heart like that of Jesus. Prayer itself is an absolute, a personal act, the offering of a finite being to his Creator. But as the currency of prayer passes through the current of nature and society, so prayer, like other currencies, is sometimes forged. C.S. Lewis. By accepting this transformation, you will experience a deeper and more intimate connection with God than ever before. Beloved child of God, during